Okay, our next speaker is a gentleman that we don't get to hear or see him very often because him and his guys are always working in the background. And very rarely anybody ever knows who the reserves are. Last week he was a lieutenant. This week he's been promoted to captain. So let's everybody hear it for Captain Brad Talent and his reserve officers. Yay!
Well, Beverly, I appreciate the honor to address this group. I'm not a full-time captain, I'm a reserve captain. I've been with Santa Paula Police Department for 20 years. But I also have a group of 21 reserve officers, and I looked at some statistics before I came out today. They've put in over 9,000 hours this year alone in supplementing police services for the city of Santa Paula. So those are the guys that deserve the applause. And these guys, the difference between them and a regular officer is everybody's got to go through an academy and everybody's got to endure continuous training. A reserve officer does it for free. Now, they may not be as adept at knowing who every gangbanger is, but as a backup officer, as a patrol officer, their heart's in it. They don't do it for the compensation, and arguably our regular officers don't do it for a big compensation either, but they do it because their heart is in the community, and they want to do the best they can. They want to make this place safe, and their appreciation is just a better community, and that's why they're here. Now, half of our reserve officers will go on to become regular full-time officers. The other half of our reserve officers will just stay as career reserves, and they'll serve and serve and serve. We got officers here that have been here for more than 20 years as reserves, and we've got officers that have been here for only 3 weeks as reserves. So we got a great, diverse group, and you can't tell the difference between them and the regular officers. They're just out there to back up your regulars. So I'd like to give a hand to our reserves.
So nice to be on YouTube saying I lost my thing again. Anyway, okay, moving on down the road here. There's another gentleman and his wife here. Talk about volunteering. Hey, do they put the hours in with the youth in Santa Paula? They take children and turn them into officers sometimes. So at this time, I'd like to call Dave Curran and his wife Melanie and the Santa Paula Explorers up. I believe there's another surprise in for Mr. Dave. So please welcome Dave, his wife Melanie, who worked so hard with these kids. Come on, Explorers, get on up here.
All right. Come on, Melanie. My wife's shy. She doesn't do it for the recognition. I don't think any of us do it for the recognition. We do it for me, I'm in it for the youth. And when you look at this program that we put on, it is for youth that is between 18 and 21. And our goal is to put them towards education, to keep them away from crime, to keep them away from drugs and violence. You guys will see them at many community events. They direct traffic, they answer questions, they do a bunch of things around the community. The real heroes of this group, it's not me, it's not my wife. I couldn't do it without her, but the real heroes are these right here. These young men and women, they volunteer their time, they devote their time, they work hard, they do everything without question. They're just the best group I've ever worked with. I'm hoping, I've got about 18 of them right now. I'd be happy with 100. If we had 100 of these kids, we'd have a much better community. I'd like to give a round of applause just for these guys because they're the real heroes of this situation. Thank you guys. All right, thank you guys. Victor doesn't want to say anything. Now, believe it or not, they're shy right now, but if you see them, if you try to park a car where you're not supposed to, they will not be shy. They will tell you where to put your car. Trust me. Thank you, guys.
sorry. Okay. Alrighty. The next fella that we have over here to come up, he's another one of those that works so much, heaven knows when they ever have time to sleep. So at this time, would you please help me to welcome our Chief of Police, Steve McLean.
Good afternoon. First of all, before I do anything, I always like to honor the biggest, most dedicated, unsung heroes that this country's ever seen, and that is our veteran of foreign wars. If you please give them a big round of applause. When it comes to unsung heroes, it doesn't get any better or bigger than this lady right here. Anybody who knows Sammy knows that this is why she lives. This is what her life work is. She works so hard, not only in her community where she lives, but at her police station too. Countless hours, and all you gotta do is be around her for a couple of minutes and speak to her, and you know where her heart's at. So Sammy, thank you so much for doing this year after year and for everything that you do. Supervisor Long, I want to thank you and our wonderful city. I am sure that the supervisor has a schedule like I do, pretty much 7 days a week. Oftentimes we run from event to event, and for you to be here today is very special, so thank you for being here, Supervisor. Martin Hernandez, your Chief of Staff, and our Councilman. Martin, I know he's here. He's here. How can I miss that red shirt? There are so many of you here today. I know we have some educators here. We have teachers here. If you would raise your hand, I know we're educators. Talking about unsung heroes, underpaid and oftentimes underappreciated, right? But thank you so much for being here, for everything that you guys do. I see my friend Pastor Jenny Crosswhite, candidate for council person. She's running for council person, and I've gotten to, and this is not an endorsement, but I've gotten to know Jenny over the past year, and I have so much appreciation for her. Met her, I think, my first day here, second day here, and what you need to know about her is how she got here. Red-headed white girl from Oregon who wound up in Santa Paula, could have taken a job anywhere as a pastor, but she wound up here, and this is where her heart is. Being a community servant isn't something that overcame her a couple of weeks ago because she decided to run for city council. Being a community servant is God's calling on Jenny and her life. It's what she's been doing from the time she was a teenager. So Jenny, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. We've got our reserves. Brad Talent just spoke. Brad Talent been lieutenant, I don't know how long he was lieutenant, a long time, but 20 years in the reserves. And it was such an honor for me to be able to recognize him for his hard work and to promote him to captain. And so that was a well-deserved promotion. I can't say enough about the reserve program. I retired from the Sheriff's Department, 17,000 employees, almost 10,000 police officers. I come here and I got 28 cops. So we really do appreciate our reserves and how much they do for us, and I appreciate every one of them. We've got volunteers, we've got citizens on patrol. Those two gentlemen over there, no white shirt, blue hats, they did their time, they served their community, and they could have been retired fishing somewhere, but instead they chose to work here and volunteer. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate those two right there. Thank you for being here. Okay, she wants everybody from Santa Paula PD to come up here. We've got all our youth over here in the blue uniform. Those are explorers. And I was an explorer when I was a teenager, and that's what really got me started, along with my background. And you'll see them at all our events, and you can see how handsome they look. And so this is our youth, and hopefully some of them will go on to the field of law enforcement. At the very least, they can see that they serve the community. Kay, I just saw you, Kay, and Howard. Thank you so much for being here. A couple of other servants in this community. I can't even tell you how long they've been here and what they've done, other than they're a big part of Santa Paula. And I appreciate that you've always been there when I needed you for advice or whatever. Thank you for being here. Officer Kern and his wife, Sammy mentioned that they were in charge of explorers, but you know what? It is so much more than that. They have personally got involved in the lives of these cadets, and not only been there for the mentoring as future police officers, but given them some very, very good advice and even some tutoring to a couple of them. You can tell that this is their passion, and I can't think of anything better or greater than to be there for our youth and mentor our kids. So David and Melanie, thank you for what you do, what you've always done, and what you will continue to do. The fire department, they got a tough job. They're much in the same position as the police department, underfunded, understaffed, and no doubt underpaid. But you know what? They get out there and they do the job each and every day. And so I really appreciate those guys. They deserve better than what they're getting, just like our police officers. And so thank you guys for being here today. So I don't have to hear it all. Well, to those of you who I didn't mention, you know who you are. The person that comes to work every day, and you don't even care if you noticed. You do it because that makes you feel good, and that's where your heart is. So for all of you who may not be up here and recognize one by one, I really appreciate all that you do and what's in your heart. So thank you very much.
Kathy Long's office was so instrumental in our being able to make awards today. So at this time, there's a couple of people I'd like to talk about, and then I'm going to give them a certificate. Pat and Richard, would you come over, please? Richard Macias and Pat McInerney. Please walk with them because, and look out for putting out the most tickets, right? So you got to watch old Batman and Robin. Thank you guys for all you do. I really appreciate you. There's another lady here who I call Queen of the Parking Lots. And she's the kind of person, she's been hanging out with Jimmy Picato too. She can convince you how you want to be out in parking lots and all that dirt and everything. And she thinks this is a good thing, right? She's also a volunteer for God knows how many things. We probably don't have enough time to talk about it, but she was so good at parking cars, they gave her a job as a cadet. And so now she gets to ticket everybody else's. So here's another ticket person to watch out for. We love her because she does everything for everybody at any time of the day or night. And she's now called Cadet Martha Brown. Get over.
First of all, I couldn't do my job without my wonderful team, my wonderful chief who supports everything that I do, and not only being a police cadet, but also my neighborhood watch program that I so passionately love. But I enjoy everything I do. I love hanging out with these guys, and I'm just very fortunate to be working with a wonderful team. So thank you.
See, I think I've got everybody this time. So thank you guys all very much. Appreciate all you do. And now it's time for the fire department to go up here. Come on, thanks, Marty. We all see them as saving lives and putting out fires, but I live in a senior apartment complex. These guys spend about half of their time over there helping everybody out, picking them up and whatever. So a lot of unsung heroes in there. They always do it with a smile. They always do it with great dignity. They never are mean to anybody, and I, for one, really appreciate that. So I'd like to thank all of the fire department and Sparky one more time. I have a certificate. Now it's my great pleasure, so they can finally get to. This is Chris Thompson and his wife Alyssa, and